I've come over to Essex this weekend to Bradwell-on-Sea to the Othona Community. Now, I'm probably not the best person to tell you about. Well, maybe I am. Maybe I'm the best person to tell you about Othona. So Othona to me is a Christian community with a light touch, and it's one of its straplines is for all faiths and none. I might show you a little bit in the beautiful chapel on the sea wall. So I came here first time a few years ago because I'd seen this video. I'd gone to an exhibition in Southend called Peculiar People, and they'd shown this little video diary there, which had been shot here in the 1950s. And in this film, the guy, it was a like black and white film, and he was saying, oh, nowadays life is so fast paced, and when I feel the real need to escape from the rat race, I come to Othona, and it's a place that I can simply be. And I thought, if that was true in the 1950s, how much more true is it now today, that life is so fast paced that we need to escape from the rat run? So I saw this video and I thought, oh, it just looks charming, and I just think I'll see if this place is still up and running. And it is more than up and running. So it started in, do you know, I don't know. Sorry, I think it started just after the war in 1946 actually. And today it is a thriving community. They're off the grid. They do a lot of growing their own food increasingly, and they do all kinds of things. They have some Buddhist weeks here, they have some singing weeks, art weeks. I came for a stargazing week last year, but this weekend it is March, and I am here for one of their working weekends where lots of people from all over London and the southeast and possibly even further afield come here to kind of tidy up the gardens, plant things. So I will show you what people are doing. Hello, have you got any objection to me filming you?
No, it's fine.
What are you doing in the herb garden today?
I am weeding. So.
Weeding? Oh,
yes,
okay.
Planting the strawberries in between the plants.
Excellent.
So just getting the weeds and then.
Good. Hello, Cam. Hello. Hello. Cam is this is my video diary that I'm doing. Cam is a long-term volunteer here.
Lucky.
Jolly chap. Cam, what are you doing today?
Today I'm just fixing the polytunnel.
Polytunnel?
Yeah, things here.
Yes.
I'm just repairing basically.
And tell me, what do you think Othona is about?
Othona is a fantastic place. There's nice people here.
Yes.
It's so enjoyable to work with them.
In your work.
We
You're trying to build up your muscles now to be a better Italian rugby player.
Hi.
This is our hedge laying project that we're trying to do with extremely large trees, but we've done a very good job, I think, so far. So now we're doing some dead hedging to create a bit of a windproof barrier. Are you enjoying that job, Ben?
Yeah, a lot.
Good, good. Have you done much hammering before?
Quite a bit.
Oh, okay, a pro. Excellent. I think the wind turbine is working overtime today, as it is pretty breezy. I might find Johnny. He might be able to tell us how all the off-grid stuff works. Let's see.
Off-grid stuff.
You're on record, Johnny.
Now let me try to explain.
Okay.
We are quite some distance from the national grid here, about 1 kilometre, which is quite costly to get connected to the national grid. So therefore, up until now, we have decided to make our own electricity. Yeah. Now we're not off grid as far as the water is concerned, as far as anything else is concerned. We've got connections as far as that's concerned. The telephone, we have a telephone connection, but we don't have electricity.
So how do you make your own electricity at Othona?
Well, we've got three main sources of electricity. Obviously, we try to economise on what we use. That is a real big importance. And we try to make use of things like solar thermal to heat water and passive solar gain to heat the building to a degree. That's quite difficult to do, and we've not done it very well, but we do a bit of it. But the electricity that we produce via wind turbine and PV panels.
So I'm going to show you inside. This is the straw bow building, and as you can see, it's made of straw and mud, basically. Clever, isn't it? You would have thought. And oh look, there is literally some of the straw. So presumably they make it with the straw and they pile on some mud and then they do some rendering. And this is a kind of thing that traps all the heat in, I believe. So these are some of the little rooms. I probably shouldn't film in other people's bedrooms. So it's not glamorous. I think if you want to come and have sort of luxury glamping accommodation, then Othona possibly isn't for you, because the accommodation is quite basic, but obviously that is kind of part of the ethos, I guess, really, that it's sort of simple living and community, and people shouldn't be hiding in their rooms watching television or whatever. You should be out there talking to people, because that's one of the real joys of the place, I think. Now this is the beautiful luncheon crowd. Oh, Cam again, he's everywhere, the man. Yes, look at the beautiful food. So I should say, originally Othona began as a very sort of simple enterprise with people in tents. So these people were some of the originals, I think, in tents. And then I believe this chap is Norman Motley, who was a vicar in the Second World War, who started a kind of a club where people, officers and soldiers could come and talk openly without fear of authority about all sorts of things, I guess. And then he was the founder of Othona. Excuse it being quite noisy, they're playing musical instruments in the background. So this was the original tents that they were in, and then they went into little Nissan huts, and now, as you can see, the building is a little bit more fancy. And the thing with Othona as well, I should say, is that generations of people come here. There's lots of Othona marriages and Othona babies, and people have come here and met and married, and they bring their kids back here. So it has got this real family feel, but at the same time, the first time I came, I thought everyone was related other than me. But I have to say, by the time I left here, I felt that I had become part of that family, which I was saying to someone earlier is a lovely feeling, really. And people, every time I come here, I meet someone who's here for the first time, and I think by the time they leave, they feel like really part of things, I hope, anyway. So it's a lovely community feel. So I think I said that Othona started from very simple origins, and I think originally when it was set up in the late 40s, people came here, and then it was very off-grid, I dare say, because I think they were kind of like doing all their washing up in just kind of bowls of water and cold water washes and swimming in the sea. So it really was for the very hardy in those days. But it obviously created something that has lasted an awful long time, and relationships that have lasted a long time as well. So here we're now in one of the original little Nissan huts that they lived in to begin with, and as you can see, they'd obviously painted pictures on the walls. It's a bit sad that it's all falling down. I think people wouldn't be prepared to live in quite such Spartan conditions maybe these days, or many people wouldn't be. but it's a shame that it's not kind of preserved as a sort of, these bits as a kind of memorial to the original Othona and those values that existed maybe particularly after the war of bringing people together. And I believe that one of the things that Othona did, it had German prisoners of war that came here to help set it up, and then enjoyed the experience so much that they came back and they brought their families. And there's certainly a lot of German and British marriages at Othona. So they obviously, it was a really positive experience of people even who originally came here presumably against their will, but came back because they enjoyed it so much. And possibly some of those people actually stayed in these buildings originally. So this is the beautiful, really simple chapel of St. Peter's on the Wall. And this, I think, is one of the oldest religious buildings still in use in Britain. Sometimes I think I make these facts up, but anyway, it's certainly very old. It was built by St. Ced in 654 AD. And St. Ced had come to Lindisfarne with St. Aidan, and then St. Aidan sent him off here in order to convert to the East Saxons, and he built this chapel, I don't know by his own personal hand, he might have had some helpers with him, but he built it with stones that had come from the fort of Othona. So that's where the Othona community gets its name. There was a Roman fort called Othona, a large fort here, and some of the original Roman bricks built into this chapel. And then, probably with the dissolution of the monasteries, the chapel fell out of use, and it was used for a barn for many years. I think because a lot of religious buildings at that time got turned into a barn. And in some ways it's a very barn-like building, but it's also this beautiful, simple place. They do a Advent working weekend, which I've come to many times, and then this place is full of candles. It looks absolutely beautiful, and it certainly is, I think, a very holy place, whatever your religion. Last year, when I came to the Othona community, they had two people who were Hindus here, and they did some Hindu chanting in this chapel, and that is one of the most lovely services I've been to here, because it just sounded beautiful. They say the acoustics in this building are very good. Hopefully you can hear me today. I think you can hear that wind raging outside. But this is just, it's whatever your beliefs or none, as the community strapline goes, this is a sacred space, I think.